My car accident was ugly. The guy that hit me passed away. The girl's dead body was there when I got out the car. Like, I don't know how I walked out. I felt like that was kind of my wake-up call. Like, you gotta start getting things together.
Yeah.
Because if I die, I left nothing to my wife and kids.
It feels like a lot of men now don't have guidance, don't have direction, but we're supposed to be the leaders.
And sometimes, even if you kind of think you got it, man, sometimes you just need to vent to somebody else going through the same thing that you're going through.
Do you think it's important as a man to be vulnerable in front of the kid?
I think it's important to talk to them because so that way if they ever feel like something's going on with them, they're comfortable talking to you about it.
If you had to say, these are 4 or 5 foundational resources men need, what would those be?
Financial literacy, I think, is very important. I would say health. Man, we need to be healthy. And then also mental health.
If someone hasn't lost anyone, right, and they haven't been in a position where they're feeling like some hurt, what's something you would share with them to kind of say, you know what, now it's time to take things a little bit more serious?
And I would say,
what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. We interview 6, 7, 8, even 9-figure entrepreneurs. You know what it is. I'm still in Orlando. We getting busy. Another amazing entrepreneur, and we found out we're both from the same state.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He got the 617. I got the 617. So it's real recognized real. When you see that 617 number, you from New England. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. This gentleman, he's looking forward to inspiring young men, even grown men, changing the narrative on what's going back on at home in the cities and really trying to get people to think about, that next level of, growing their families, taking responsibility, building wealth, and just becoming, just the best version of you. Hector Perdomo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So, what's going on, man? You got the 800 men club, you got the 700 men club. So what's going on with these clubs?
So 700, all of this was inspired. I lost a real dear friend of mine back in 2022 to suicide. Everything kind of started in 2021 when I was in my car accident. I got PTSD, just had to kind of deal with it. And then my boy dies in 2022. He was actually my director of marketing.
Car accident too, him as well?
No, he committed suicide.
Oh, suicide.
Yeah. And for me and him to be talking every single day and then me not pick up on it, it took my PTSD to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I see it? You know what I mean? But then it's as men, what kind of suffering are we kind of going through? So just trying to figure out ways to provide resources for where we can just talk about it. So I want to start helping with physical health and mental health, but a lot of the times, we just need some kind of resources to be successful. So, helping people with credit. So 700 Men Club is getting guys to a 700 credit score, getting them the funding they need for their business. If they need help growing and scaling some kind of resources, it's kind of like a resource center.
Gotcha.
And then once they get to that 800 credit score, man, we're just all investing together at that point.
Okay, so let me go a little slow to make sure that I understand, but they understand. So 700 Club, I get into 700 Club. One of the pillars is you're gonna help me put my credit in order. You're gonna help me get to that 700.
Right.
Now, once I get to that 700, I'll get access to a couple of resources. One of those resources being access to funding.
Mm-hmm.
That funding puts me in a position to then what?
Grow and scale your business.
Okay, so if I have a business, it's gonna put me in a position to grow and scale it. If I don't have a business and maybe I'm just doing a job 9 to 5, what am I doing with the funding?
So what we're doing is I have a lot of resources. Let's say they're like, Hector, man, I got the credit, but I don't know what I want to do yet. So I have guys in Amazon stores.
Got you.
Right? I'm like, hey, go put your money with this guy. I trust him. He's vetted. You can use this resource. Let's say you want to open up a trucking company, right? We'll go out and help you open up the trucking company. So we want to help teach you a trade so that way you could start. Because the whole point is building generational wealth for our families. You know what I mean? Helping build better men in this world. Because I just feel like fathers, we need better fathers.
Yeah.
So I want to bring in people who could talk. There's a guy that I know, Reggie from Father Figure Apparel. That's his main focus. His story is amazing. If you ever have a chance, Father Figure Apparel, as a parent, man, it's inspiring what he's doing.
Father Figure Apparel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
And we're just trying to build better men. And that's my goal, is to provide all the resources to help them out. And then at 800, we got you to that 800 credit score. We're just investing together at that point.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Hey, let's go tackle a real estate deal together. Yeah. I have access to some private type deals where you're like kind of like investment vehicles. Put our money into there. Let's all like, gold. A lot of people don't know about gold. You can actually like flip gold. Let's all put our money in gold together and then flip that. So like that's the whole purpose of the 700 and 800 Men Club. But it was because of my boy who passed away and just wanting to provide those resources for men.
Was that a conversation you and your boy had prior to him passing away, or did
Yeah.
that? So you guys had a conversation about like starting this club?
Not the club, but like finding ways to help people. So
Gotcha.
he went to the Navy, and then he graduated from Full Sail University, like to be a music producer and marketing. So he was actually going to help musicians on the artist side of it. I was going to help them with funding, right, providing resources in certain niches, right, and then like
A
we were
lot of
going
them
to.
don't know how to get to the money.
And that's what he was going to help them with, making sure they don't get burned, and they're not taking bad like label deals, because most of them do it for money. Because now once you have the money, you're in a bargaining position. It's like, hey, I want a distribution deal. This is what I want. I got my own money. I don't need your money.
Yeah.
I want a better distribution. So he was going to help with that. And I was going to help with the credit and funding, because that was kind of my bread and butter. And then I started trying to implement it into other things. Like, man, by just talking to people, nobody's really doing that, especially for men. Like back home.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Back home, do you see like shelters for men? No, for women and children, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a man, like, what do you do? So like, that's my goal. I want to go back to Boston, turn shelters into resource centers. So when somebody, whether it's drug rehab, whether whatever it is, and they go into that resource center, like we're turning them back to the world as an asset to society. And that's kind of like the catchphrase for 800 Men Club and 700 Men Club is transforming men into their biggest asset. And I just feel like, especially in this time, it is needed more than ever right now.
No, I would definitely agree with that. It feels like a lot of men now don't have guidance, don't have direction, but we're supposed to be the leaders.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we don't have guidance or direction. We can't lead. And if we're not leading, what's that next generation? We're going to be following whatever, and we're going to be led to do whatever. And that's super dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Especially if you're someone that wants to, you would like to do something for your family, right? Help them out, put them in maybe a new house, just a new environment. But there's no man in the house, or maybe you are the young man in the house and you have no idea, right?
No, that was like me. I became a dad at 19. My mom and my dad, they got separated once I was like 17. So I had to help my mom and my brother pay the bills. And then I had a kid at 19. So like, having that guidance for people to make sure, like, hey, listen, this is what you do in those situations.
Yeah.
Teach you how to be a real man. And sometimes, even if you kind of think you got it, man, sometimes you just need to vent to somebody else going through the same thing that you're going through.
That's bad.
Like, imagine as a parent, you're trying really hard to be successful, but life keeps punching you, and you don't want to show any weakness inside your family because you're the backbone to the family. But if you could talk to someone else going through the exact same thing, you just feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Or if you need to find like mental health help, like we're going to provide the resources within the group to make sure that we can get you like maybe a therapist or just somebody to talk to. You know what I mean?
Is your revenue stuck? If you're an entrepreneur and your revenue is stuck, you don't need to fix your products or services. You need new audiences to discover you more consistently. Podcast guesting is the ideal way to be discovered 24 hours a day by your ideal clients. And guess what? The more people that know you, the more people can flow you. Head over to podcastmasterypack.com and take advantage of your first or next podcast. Let's go.
So let me ask you this. Were you ever, do you recall being in that space where you felt like as a strong man or just as someone kind of taking care of everyone, you didn't really have anyone to talk to?
Oh man, all the time.
What was that like? Or what is that like?
It's I think it got worse after my car accident. I had so much PTSD and anxiety because my accident was really bad. I seen 2 dead bodies in my accident. So it like triggered, and it's tough because like, especially like I'm married with kids. I got 4 kids total. My wife and I have 3 kids together. Actually, my grandfather passed last year, and that was the first time. So all that anxiety like built up. Like my kids were like, "Daddy, that's the first time we ever seen him cry." You know what I mean? And it was just like built up. Because as an entrepreneur, man, like there's a lot of ups and downs. Like man, like sometimes it hits and you're like, all right, how do I tackle this? And I've been burned bad. And everybody's like, yo, how do you stay so calm? I was like, I have no choice.
Yeah.
Because I got my wife and my kids who depend on me. You know what I mean? So I try my best to like hide it. But then when my grandfather passed, like it just snapped. I broke and I was just like crying. It was just kind of like a buildup. But I always felt like if I had 800 men club, 700 men club, where I can just kind of talk to some people going through the same thing, I would have been, because it's different than talking to your spouse. And
Yeah, no, it is.
me and my wife have I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I say I'm very blessed with my marriage. She's like my best friend, but still, like as the protector and the alpha of the family, like you don't want to show any signs of weakness.
So
You know?
that's interesting. So do you think that, you want to be vulnerable with your wife, you want to be able to share with her, but do you think you should, what's your opinion on being super vulnerable to your wife if you're the alpha, you're the leader of the household?
I don't think it's a bad thing, but like me, I'm a very protective person, so I also want to like protect her peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you think she would worry more if she saw you kind of in that space?
Like I worry that it would make her worry. You know what I mean? Because I want to protect and I want to be the protector of the household. But they say like it just depends on the situation. And again, I don't know the answer. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I felt because, from my upbringing and kind of seeing the things that I seen when I was growing up. And me and my wife were actually talking about this. I was crazy how your upbringing can change so much on how you think of and react to certain situations.
Of course.
And I think maybe that's why I am like that, because I've seen so much of the arguing back and forth with my parents and how they just were never on the same page. So I want to protect that peace in my house. Maybe that's why I'm like that, but that's just kind of my opinion on the situation.
What about, okay, so you got 4 kids, right? You said the first time that they can recall seeing you cry was when your grandfather passed, right? And my condolences to you.
Thank you.
Both my grandfathers passed away, so I probably don't understand how you feel, but I understand how you feel. But do you think it's important as a man, the leader, protector of the house, to be vulnerable in front of the kids?
I think it's important to like talk to them because so that way if they ever feel like something's going on with them, they're comfortable talking to you about it.
Got you.
Because I didn't have that with my dad. Like there was no, like I've seen him vulnerable, but we never communicated.
Yeah.
Like I try my best to communicate with my kids now. Like, hey, let's talk. What's wrong? Like, why are you acting like this? Like instead of just whooping their asses off.
I do that too. That's happening too.
Yeah, I'm the tough one, and then my wife's the softer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I try to have conversations with them and just kind of prepare them for certain things. Because especially nowadays, like, man, there's so much access to stuff. They could accidentally open up their iPad and then just boom, start seeing crazy shit going on. You know what I mean? So I try to communicate with them and then show that vulnerability, within the house. And I'm still learning. That's why, again, I want to bring resources in because if I ever question like, hey, am I doing this right? Like, I want to have people that we can go to. Yeah. Like I said, back home, single parent households, like a lot of single moms out there. So who's a father figure to those boys growing up?
They don't have one.
Down the street. So I want to build a community up for that because I just had to like learn how to be a dad. Like I didn't know if I was doing it right or not. You know what I mean? So I want to like, again, there's no perfect way to do it, but if we can at least have resources to help people out, then like we could do our part. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about those resources. What are the resources? Like if you had to say these are 4 or 5 like foundational resources, men need, what would those be?
Financial literacy, I think, is very important. It's not just credit. Like a lot of people are always pitching credit, like yes, but you have to understand finances. Like I've talked to a lot of business owners who make a lot of money and are bad with budgeting. They're bad with their finances. They're like, because I deal with like private family offices, hedge funds. I have access to like private money. They're like, Hector, can you go get me some money? I was like, yeah, sure. Let me look at, your books. And they're in the red. They're like negative in their bank account more than half of the month. Like, there's typically 20 banking days in a month. And they're like negative, like 15, 16 of them. I was like, you can't handle your own money. And you want me to go ask these millionaire families to give you? It'll never happen. So I think financial literacy, but not just credit and getting funding, like making sure they understand their money. I would say like health, like, man, we need to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like
We actually just
physically
talked
too.
to, we had Hagen on a podcast and that was his thing.
Yeah.
So Hagen kind of went crazy on like the health, but yeah, so I would agree with you on that. So financial literacy, health.
And then also mental health.
Mm.
I think those two have to be separate, because I know a lot of physically healthy people, like my boy. Boy was like 6'4", in shape, meditated, and did all this, and he committed suicide. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yes, he was in physical health, but the mental health side wasn't getting the attention that it needed. So I think also mental health is another big resource that we need to tackle.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then I would communication, because I think especially nowadays there's like no like it's almost frowned upon to have certain type of communication. And we're on the phone texting and this and that. Like you'll see, like my wife and I, we always do date night minimum like once, twice a month, and we'll go out places and like you'll see people sitting there just on their phone.
Mm.
It's like, you got to communicate, you know what I mean? But I don't think there's enough communication in this world anymore.
Gotcha. So you got financial literacy, you got health, mental health, and communication.
I would say those are the four
those
most.
are the four like foundational
Mhm.
financial pieces.
And then you just stack on
yeah,
top of that, you know what I mean, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I think those are very, because with communication, like let's say I don't know if I'm doing something the right way, being able to communicate that to someone to say, hey, I need help with X, Y, and Z. You know, I just had a situation come up in my marriage. How do you think I should tackle it?
Mm.
Or even being able to communicate that with your spouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and then, of course, those are the four main, but you just stack on top of that.
Got you. So when it comes to like mental health, I guess I got two with this one. So the first one would be, how does one identify that, you know what, I think my friend might need, you know what I'm saying? Like how could you tell? Like if you think about, the experience you had with your friend that passed, and you think about like previous conversations or interaction you had, well, anything stick out on that? So I guess I'm saying maybe anything that you've experienced, how could someone see or tell? What would be some indicators that?
So that one is tough. I would say this, everyone, like if they ever lost someone, don't go crazy, like trying to replay I did. And I kept trying to figure it out. Going through text messages, I was like, where did I miss it? There's one thing that he did tell me that I think maybe he was trying to like reach out and kind of tell me. So you ever heard of the book Outwitting the Devil?
Yeah.
By Napoleon Hill?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, heck man, you should read that book.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, yeah. So I bought the book and everything, showed him. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna start reading it. Got caught up with the business and never got to read it. Then after he passed, I read Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And then it kind of transitioned. They talk about, hey, you should read this one next. And I'm like, shit, is that what he was trying to tell me? Because, Outwitting the Devil was like that play in your head. So I would say just one of the things to do is like, if someone's like character is a little off and they're just kind of acting sporadic, definitely be like, hey man, is everything good? Or just asking people like, hey man, how's your day been? Is there anything you need from me? I've been doing that a lot more now. Like there was someone on my IG, he was a real cool boy of mine. And I lost my grandfather. He lost his grandfather. And I started seeing certain stories. So I actually reached out, I was like, hey man, you all right? And he actually told me no. Like, I don't know if I could take this. And like me and him were having a conversation. So like now I'm more attentive because of me losing my boy. You know what I mean? And then there's another one, I belong to a group. And like, I don't know, something just made me ask, like, hey, how are you? You know, as a man, like, how's everything going? Like, how are you? He's like, man, nobody ever asked me that. It's like, man, nah, like, honestly, like, I have really bad days sometimes. So I was like, man, call me, text me. Like, if you ever feel a certain way, man, just let me know. So now I check in with him. So if anybody ever tells you, hey, I do get those thoughts sometimes, I would say just check in. If you haven't heard from the person in a little bit, this is a quick check-in. Hey, how are you? Like, how do you feel today? Stuff like that.
What if you are that person? So like if I am that person, I'm listening to you. What are some things that I can do? Because I might feel a little ashamed, or I might feel a little like I don't want people to see me that way vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I actually do want to like feel better and get better? What are some things that I could do on my own?
And I'm still trying to learn, right? Because I'm a student. I feel like I'm a student at life. Like I'm constantly trying to learn. So I'm still figuring ways out to be better at it. But if I was that person, like who's feeling like that, I would say, like, don't have an ego too prideful because there's people who do care about you. You know what I mean? I would say, like, don't make a permanent decision on a temporary feeling.
That's heavy.
You know, because you could just be hurting at that time. You know what I mean? So don't make a decision that you can't come back from. And that's one thing I wish I could tell, my boy is like, hey man, like, I know you're feeling like that right now, but I got you. I might not know exactly how you're feeling, but I'm here for you and I'm willing to listen. You know what I mean? But if you're that person, I would say, just reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm just not feeling right. And be okay with that because we're human. Like, there's no perfect person. There's no perfect husband. There's no perfect son, no perfect father, no perfect person. We're not God. We're not perfect. You know what I mean? But just be okay with not being perfect. Just be okay with constantly trying to progress and be better. And if you're feeling like that, just reach out to somebody and say, like, man, I'm just not feeling good right now. And hopefully, that person is willing to accept and just listen and be there for. If not, reach out to me on my IG. You know what I mean? At Hector Perdomo 87. I will listen, just especially from who I lost. I will listen. I've had people, like I said, I caught it on the guy's IG stories. Didn't tell nobody. And I reached out. I said, are you okay? And he told me straight up, no. If you were to look at this guy, tough dude from the streets, and you would not think he would really go down that hole or want to make that decision. So, just reach out to somebody, especially once I build this community. Like, man, we're all going to be there for each other.
What's up, y'all? I'm standing in the middle of the street and I'm willing to risk it all because I want you to grow, whether through paid or organic measures. Over the next 5 days, the Audience Growth Challenge, we're going to be teaching you podcast guesting strategies, video marketing strategies, social media, predictable viral creation strategies, the power of radio and digital PR. And these strategies are what you need to grow your business over the next 4, 6, 9, even 12 months to skyrocket your success. So if you want to join the challenge, all you got to do is click the link below and join the Audience Growth Challenge and join as a VIP. Let's get it.
Why are you so passionate about this?
Losing my boy hurt. Like, really, I knew him for 7 years. And to know that he was in that much pain and I talked to him the night before he did it. To know that he was in that much pain and I couldn't help, like, it hurt. Because my car accident was ugly. Like, the guy that hit me passed away. The girl's dead body was there when I got out the car. I had no broken bones. Like, I don't know how I walked out. And I just felt like that was kind of God. Like, my seatbelt snapped off. When I woke up, like, I didn't have my seatbelt on anymore. Like, the cop was already coming towards me and I put my seatbelt back on. I was like, oh, damn, I don't want to take it. I didn't realize how bad it was. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was like kind of my second chance at life. That was kind of my wake-up call. Like, yo, you got to start getting things together. Yeah. Because if I die, I left nothing to my wife and kids. And like, that's one of my biggest passions is being a better father for my kids, just because, I went through certain things with my dad. So I want to be there for them so bad. And I want to leave a legacy. And I feel like this is my legacy. I thought I was going to play ball growing up. You know what I mean? But that wasn't
like hoop? You hoop?
Yeah, basketball. Yeah, man. I really thought that was it. Like, my aunt sent me old videos of me when I was in high school. Remember the original Harlem Globetrotters? Yeah. Shake and Bake Frank Street used to go to my high school games. Crazy. And he said, Hector, go play in college. I was going to try to walk on at UCF. I had a full ride academically. I was going to, try out. I spoke to the coach there. I was going to walk on to see if I could play. If not, he said he'll send me overseas to play. I thought I was going to hoop. But I feel like this is my calling and this is how I impact people and this is how I create my generational wealth and my legacy. And I think that's important. As a man, like, we want to leave something behind. And I think that's my legacy. So I think everything that I've been through is what made me so passionate about this.
Yeah. And then, I teach people how to monetize a podcast without having a big audience or brand deals or sponsorships. Just because that's how I monetize mine. You know what I mean? And there's so many other ways, and I share with people how to do that. But it's like, if you want to utilize media, okay, like, number one thing is this. All right, let's talk about 700 Club, right? Let's say somebody in 700 Club had a podcast. They got bad credit. They kind of do this as a hobby. Well, one way for them to monetize and take this more serious is to turn it into a business. And most podcasters don't. They don't turn it into a business. They don't get an LLC. They don't get an EIN. And they don't have a media business. They just podcast on the side.
That's crazy.
They never look at.
Like,
they don't look at this as a business.
I look at everything like a business.
But they don't look at it like a business.
Like right now, I'm trying to talk to the NBA player. Like me and Catino talk all the time.
Yeah.
Catino Mobley. And he was like, yo, hey, Heck, can you help me with like this W-9? I'm like, so you're W-9? Like, and it's his business that the NBA is still paying him on. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he's a W-9. He's a 1099. Are all the players 1099s? If that's the case, they're all businesses. So why are they not like moving like businesses?
Because they don't know that.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, they don't have that.
Yeah. And that's where, like, once, bro, if Catino gets me in front of Jalen, like, it's a wrap. I'm going all in.
Yeah.
All the ideas that I have to help. Because, like, I understand basketball to an extent. And I felt like maybe that's the connection between me wanting to play basketball and my journey is
100%.
I can bring these resources to
full circle.
Yeah. Like, bro, I know how to build business credit. Like, I can get cars without them touching your personal credit. I have, you know what like authorized users are on the personal side.
Yep.
I got that, but primaries on the business side up to $1 million. So I can make it seem like your business has been handling $1 million. Yeah. $1 million trade line on your business.
Yeah.
You can walk anywhere and get whatever money you want at that point.
I'm gonna have to get that. I have to get one of those.
Yeah, I just put one on mine. And I met the co-founder of the company.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, what are you? I was like, I'm good at building relationships.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely care about people. I really want everybody to win. It ain't about me. I don't care about that shit. Like, we all eat together. And that's allowed me to have access to the shit that I have access to.
I got something for you on the we all got to eat together thing. But I'm gonna talk about this in a second. Because this is about two. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You talk about that, though. So, all right. I come to the 700 Club. I'm like, yo, I need Hector to get me right. So I'm working on my mindset, but when I'm working on my mindset, you get my credits together. Let's say my credit's busted, right? How can I fix my credit? Because I'm afraid of credit. You know, like this is what people will say. They're afraid to use credit, or, you know, they look at credit like, oh, I'm gonna just go buy this bag, and then their whole intention not even to use the credit and pay it off. So let's touch on that real quick. My credit's busted. Like, how am I able to fix it? Like, is that even possible?
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from like seeing what our parents did or how they mismanaged it, or maybe, you know, you made a mistake with your credit. Now you're scared of that relationship, right? Because if you look at like all the wealthy people, they understand the whole concept of OPM, other people's money, leverage, right? Leverage is how you grow faster. But the problem is the fear factor of it. Like, people are scared, like, hey, I messed up before. I'm probably going to mess this up again, right? So to me, it's important to understand how to use it. That's why, to me, it's not just the credit funding, like everybody's out helping get the back. Like, it's not about that. It's the financial literacy aspect of it. Understanding budgeting, understanding leverage, understanding investments.
So you're saying you're not just fixing people in the 700 Club, you're not just fixing their credit. You're helping them, you're making sure they understand how to
finance,
how to use it, and they get that financial literacy. So they'll be self-sustaining and they'll know what to do.
And that's the journey of 700 and 800, right?
Gotcha.
Because you're understanding it at that point. Because when you're at the 800 credit score, like, that's a journey you just went through. It's not just the 700 credit score. Like, okay, we helped you get money at that point. We help you get funded. We also help you put the money in the right places to keep growing your business. So now you're also building trust with 800 Men Club once you're at that level. Because now if I call you and I'm like, hey, I got an investment, it's 50K, you'll be like, all right, wire sent. Because there's no like, is this going to be a good deal? No, we've already built that trust at that point. So it's a whole journey.
It's not a tribe, bro. That's actually really dope. Because when you think about it, if you got all right, let's say you and I are brothers. We're brothers, right? Do you got a brother?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're brothers, right? We've, you know, grown up together, got a relationship, been through some stuff. We're learning some things. You learn something, I learn something different. We're sharing whatever. We have this camaraderie. But if you call me and you're like, yo, Brendan, I need you, or I got this opportunity, I'm not gonna be like, yo, Hector, like, what's up with this opportunity though? Like, are you sure? I don't know. I gotta look at it. Give me a month. I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm be like you said, wire sent. Here's a text. You know what I'm saying?
Give me details later.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah.
And I think that if you can build a community up like that, if you build a brotherhood up like that, like you said, you got hundreds of men that are in, in the club, same frequency, same energy, collaborating, like leveraging with each other, sharing ideas, sharing opportunities. Not only do you get things done faster, but you got a whole like tribe that you can go through to make things happen. And you have that trust that should like just like the brother where I can go to you and say, Hector, I need you. I might need to borrow some money, or I might need you to pull up, to take care of some stuff, or I might need to just come over and just kick it. But y'all are really moving and shaking together. And that's really powerful.
Yeah.
You know how many people have friends that don't got no money? And then when you like, yo, let's do something, they can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Or if you move, that might be the last time you see your friend because they can't afford to take the flight or whatever the case may be. Like that money is a big thing, but what you're doing is crazy because you're changing a lot of lives and you're having an impact on a lot of people and putting them in positions that they would probably never be in before.
Appreciate that. And that's I always have this saying, like, I'd rather be at the table eating with everybody than being at the table by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, all the food is there just for me, but like, do you really want to be there by yourself?
Yeah.
But if you're at the table with your brotherhood and you guys all made it together, you're also eating at a bigger table.
And especially if they want to be there.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing too.
I'm big on that too. Like you have to be careful who's around you, right? Because if you have the wrong people around, like I'm big on energy.
Yeah.
Like my wife, I listen to her more now because I've been wrong almost all the time with the energy thing.
Yeah.
She hasn't. Like I'm saying it's like scary good. Like she picks up, she's like, no, be careful. That one right there, yeah, he's gonna get you. And I was like, no, he's good, he's good. He got me. You know what I mean?
Guess I need to get a wife.
Yeah.
Right.
A good one though. Like
saying for real.
You know?
I might have to, I'll find a woman and then I'll hit you up and have your wife. Have you know what the energy like, you know what I mean?
She's from New England too, so
okay,
she got to.
She got it. All right, word.
But if everybody operating off the same frequency, off the same energy, but also like we're gonna pick up who isn't on our same path, right? Because we all have each other's back. And that's where, like imagine this, like there's 10 of us and I'm able to get all of us 100K in funding. That's a mill.
That's a super mill.
We can go get a multifamily unit together. With $1 million down, usually you can get 4 or 5 times, the valued asset. So that's like a $5 million multifamily unit. And there's 10 of us. So much faster to go get that, right? One of the things that we're doing, because I also know like the private side. What I mean by that is like private bullion gold sellers in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they have access to gold, right? One of my really good friends, and we actually got really close through failed transactions. Because I was in Egypt and we were trying to hit a deal and it didn't. We never fought. We never got mad at each other and we became like brothers. So like 800 Men Club, we're gonna like, let's say there's 10 of us, same idea, 10 of us, 100K in funding. He has access to the bullion sellers. We'll go buy gold and then there's platforms where you could flip the gold 30 to 80% per week on it.
Yeah.
And you hit, they're called bullets, and you hit like a 30-day bullet or 10-week bullet, instant millionaires.
That's crazy.
But we're at that point when they're at the 800 Men Club, like we've built that trust, so they know that this is how it works.
We're gonna make a move.
Yeah.
Kind of like, do you remember the Nation of Islam, Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he did a Million Man March, the Million Man March. You never seen the Million Man March? Million Man March? Do you know about it? Really?
Yes, sir.
So you remember like Martin Luther King had, the thing on DC, he brought everybody, right? So Louis Farrakhan, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because what you just shared. So in 1995, Louis Farrakhan got 1 million men together.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. This was probably the last time it was done. 1 million black men together to go to DC and just to make an impact, but really just get a bunch of us together. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's a perfect example that shows when we operate off the same frequency with the same goal in mind, like look what can happen.
That's what I'm saying. So just imagine that based on what you said, we all came together and we use that economic power, or we all came together and we got right. We got the financial literacy and then we use that economic power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I heard a friend of mine shared this last year about life insurance. So you know how, over the past couple of years, like George Floyd and like, people, men of color getting, shot by cops or whatever. So she's like, you know how we would stop cops like taking advantage of like, and just being like, violent towards, men of color is if all men of color got life insurance. Because we all got $1 million life insurance policies. That means you're making instant millionaire families. That $1 million going to transfer right to the family. They probably wouldn't stop like being violent, like ultra violent to us because they know it would make an economic shift.
Yeah,
immediately.
Yeah. Because if you think about everyone who's passed,
that's what I'm saying.
Like that's a lot of, and
that's free money. Well, it's not free money, but it's a very inexpensive way for you to generate a wealth transfer.
And then what you do is you put programs in place so that way once that money hits those families, they're into financial literacy type program to teach them how to protect their money because it's an unfortunate passing, but that passing created legacy. Yeah, because and this is why they go, oh, the jackpot wouldn't still go rogue. Yeah, because they don't have the financial literacy. Like, imagine if they put that into any kind of investment vehicle. I've talked to a lot of people who know how to make money, but they don't understand finances. Yeah. One of my clients, she has 5 houses, right? They do like the sober homes. So she gets paid per body in there. And I got her so far, we're like 140 in 45 days so far, 140K. We've got her in funding. She's never gotten funding before for her business. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, why don't we, to grow even faster, I got you the 140. Why don't we pull equity out of one of your houses and then go buy another house with that? She's like, no, but I'm at 3.5%. I was like, so what? Let's say the interest goes up to 10%. I pull the equity out of that house. But this new house cash flows you where you had like a 20% margin. We're able to pay off that extra 10% and you're still left with 10% profit. What does it matter? It's leverage. Yeah. But a lot of people, especially in our community, they don't how we were talking about being scared of money, being scared of debt. They don't understand how you can use finances and leverage to go faster.
That's the whole point.
Because I was like, hey, listen, if you pay me to help you scale your business, I'll double your houses within a year just by understanding leverage. And she's like, but I'm nervous of the debt. I was like, the debt doesn't matter.
Because it's back to the mindset.
Exactly. Because they're so used to, and then you have people like the Dave Ramseys and all that.
I think that's why it's kind of psychological, bro. It's like, it's called debt you think is bad. Yeah. And because it's bad, you stay away from it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's 1,000% because this, like, let's be honest. Let's look at all the wealthy families. All of them use leverage and debt to grow faster. You know what I mean? But why is it that when someone is scared of that, you notice they don't grow as fast? Yeah. Like,
or they try to save their way to it. You can't save your way to it. Or you want to use cash. You can't use cash. Because once your cash is gone, then what you got?
So let's take
stack up more cash.
Exactly. So let's take an example. Let's say an investment deal, right? You got 50K in cash. I got like, I don't know, let's just say 20K in cash, but I got like 50K in, credit cards, business credit cards. We invest into a deal together. You use your cash, I use my credit cards, but the business fails. You use up all your cash. You got to stack up all that money all over again. I'm good. Yeah. I use my credit cards. I'll make my monthly payments. I'll recover. I still got some cash in the bank that'll let me float, but I'm not starting from zero. Yeah.
Hey, listen, if you're looking to grow your podcast business or you're looking to leverage podcasts to grow your business, you want to tap in to the Podcast to Profits Academy. We're going to teach you exactly what it takes for you to get more exposure to grow and scale your business or leverage podcasts so you can do more revenue. What you want to do is head over to podcast2profits.com and apply to work with me and a member of my team.
I remember when I first started my clothing company, I didn't know none of this, bro. I leveraged my house. I used all my cash. I had like $150 in cash. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if I would have known about like credit, business credit, leverage, financial literacy. And that's why what you're doing is so important, because the first time I had a bag, $1.50, I got it from my grandmother passing away.
Back in condolences.
Thanks, man. I bought, well, over the time with the money, I bought like 6 cars, bro, and a bike. I was going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Going crazy. But I didn't have, there was no men in the house. I didn't have access to financial literacy.
See what I mean?
There was no 700, 800 men's club. You know, I didn't have an older brother. My uncle, he had PTSD from the war. So like he had his routine, but it was just like, we weren't communicating like that.
Yeah.
Because he was just watching the stuff, smoking his cigarettes, taking his walk. Watching the stuff, smoking his cigarettes, taking his walk. That was his routine. And my grandmother, she was definitely the matriarch and all of that. But she had passed. But when I was living, I mean, maybe because I was young, but she didn't teach me nothing about none of that. Or credit cards or nothing. And my mom didn't know, my aunt didn't know. Like, so that's the environment I grew up. That's why what you're doing is so tremendous. But if I had that information when I was the first stop when I was 16, game changer. And then the second stop was when, I was in my mid-20s and I but I spent all my cash, and I even, lost one of my properties because I thought that was the way that I needed to get the money. But like you said, I could have, had the correct information, be in the correct environment with the correct support. And then I would have been good, still have my stuff. And then I would have used other people's money. Yep. And that's why what you're doing is so important.
No, I appreciate it. And it is different, especially for people from our community.
Yeah, it's not different. We just been away from it.
Yeah.
It's not really, it's there.
Yeah.
No,
for sure.
God talks about self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And it's like, once you identify something, it's been always there. You just, your self-awareness just changed. So if I told you something, you was like, oh man, that's crazy. It's always been there.
Yeah, you didn't just invent it out.
You just was like, you just became aware of it on a different level. And then sometimes like, when it's like, maybe a car you want or something, or, maybe there's, you want to go take your family on a trip. You might see it a couple times.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're thinking about it. You just identify it. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is it. Like, because now your self-awareness is there.
Yeah.
A second ago, or a week ago, month ago, you never even seen that car.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because like even on my phone, like I have the Porsche that I want to buy. And like, I swear to you, ever since I did that, I'm like, oh, look, there it is. Oh, look, there it is. Oh, look. Like I see it everywhere now. So it's funny that you say that.
That's how it works. It's frequency. Yeah, but that's how the self-awareness works. And that's why I'm going to just keep saying it, man. I think what you're doing is incredible, because think about a young person coming from where we came from, teenager, high school, even college, with this information, what they will be able to do. Yeah. How they could change the trajectory of their family.
Honestly, that's me doing this is obviously my passion, but I want to go back home and build a whole resource center back in Boston. And like, when you come into that resource center, like the whole slogan is like transforming men to be their biggest asset, right? So like you go in there, boom, we're helping you with your, like everything that I'm doing, but inside a facility, turning homeless shelters into resource centers. Because a lot of times when you go into a homeless shelter, you get out, for one, like it's tough to be homeless. Yeah. Mentally, it takes a toll on you. You can't just get out of the homeless shelter and think everything's okay psychologically. Like you do need somebody there to talk to. You know what I mean? Has your health been okay since you've been going through that? Probably not. You know what I mean? And let's give them the resources so that way they're not homeless again. Yeah. But like, it's just like a vicious cycle if you're just giving them a bed to sit in. And it's nothing to knock what homeless shelters are doing. At least there's a bed for the people. But for men, it's women and children first. Mm-hmm. Whatever's left over, then we'll give it to one of the men. Yeah. Right?
And the men are important because, we are the leaders. We are the protectors. We're the ones.
Yeah. And that's why, that's where my passion, we have to start building that though. So my goal is to go back to Boston, turn homeless shelters into resource centers. And then if you go in there, stay there for a whole year. But by the time you're done in the program, you're a transformed, changed man. You can be okay with having a family. You'll be set up to be able to do that. Not saying, hey, go out there and create a family, but when the time is right, you have all the building blocks and the foundational pieces to create a family and create your legacy, and your generational wealth.
If people want to find out more information about the 700 Club, they want to graduate, go to the 800 Club. maybe they want to help you. I mean, I definitely want to help you what you got going on in Boston. So we'll talk more about
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
But if they want to get right, mindset wise, right, get their money right, get in a position to use leverage, get in a position to, you know, just be in a group of men that are all focused on going to that next level, on it, all vibing on the same frequency. How could they tap in with you?
On IG, at Hector Perdomo 87, I just built out the 700, 800 Men Club. So at 700 Men Club, at 800 Men Club, click on the link on my bio on my page. I have my Calendly on there, you know, set up a consultation, and then like, let's put a game plan together for you. And if you want to use me to help you, cool. If, you know, there's somebody else, like I'm all about the mission, not that I have to be the one. If I just light something in you to go do it, but you know, somebody else, cool. Like as long as that light bulb clicks for you once we talk, that's all, you know, I'm trying to do.
Gotcha. And if you could leave one more thing for the people, just in terms of like maybe mindset wise or taking things a little bit more seriously, because you know, unfortunately, when you lost your friend, some click, start taking things more seriously. So if someone hasn't lost anyone, right, and they haven't been in a position where, you know, they're feeling like some hurt, and they just listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, what's something you would share with them to kind of say, you know what, now it's time to take things a little bit more serious?
Man, I know it sounds cliche, but tomorrow's never promised, right? And I would say procrastination is one of the biggest liabilities you can have. Because things you say, oh, I'll just do it later, and then something comes up and you don't do it, that could be the missing piece in your success. Because if you were supposed to send that email, what if that person you were going to send that email to was ready to actually read and receive it, and you guys could do something together, but because you procrastinated, that person got too busy. So now that email got lost. Like, just stop procrastinating. And that's with everything. If you're not feeling right, stop procrastinating on your health. You know, if you got to speak to somebody because mentally you're kind of going through it, stop procrastinating, go talk to somebody. So I would say, like, man, stop leaving for later what you could do right now, because tomorrow is never promised.
Man, listen, I felt that. I'm asking the questions and I felt that. I totally agree, man. I think one last thing I would share, when someone passes, it's so crazy how for that like couple of days of that week, people take things more serious, right?
Yeah.
But then you let a couple
Time
more days
goes.
go by, then you back on your same joint. And I agree with you. It's like, we got what we got. You know, we're not promised that, you know, when we lay down, we're gonna wake up in the morning, we be able to kind of, you know, I think we're spoiled to think that we are, right? So if you're watching this podcast, and this is a very special one, you know, so if you're watching this podcast, if there's something that you need to get started, get it started. You know, if there's someone that you want to connect with that person. If that person doesn't want to connect, you do your thing, but then connect with someone else, because they may not be ready. But you know how important it is for you to go to that next level, for you to do what you need to do. If there's someone you care about, let them know how much you care about them again, because we're not promised tomorrow, man. And if you really need to get your finances together, if you want to be in a group of other men that are looking to really build something special, connect with my guy, get into that 700 men's club, get into the 800 men's club, and you know, take yourself to the next level and make an impact in your family and on other people. I guess that's it, bro. You know what I mean? Yes, that's it. Man, thanks for coming to the podcast. Make sure you guys share this podcast out with at least 3 to 5 people. And again, Hector, let them know where they can go to tap in with you.
At Hector Perdomo 87. That's like on all social media platforms. I've used that. So that's me right there. At 700 Men Club, at 800 Men Club. You know, tap in. Anything that I could do for you, I'm here for you. Like I said, even if you just need to schedule a consultation, like, man, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, it's cool. I'm here for you.
All right, y'all. We'll see you on another episode of the podcast.